Morning, John.
Good morning, Stephen. How are you today?
I'm fine. The sun is shining at long last.
Yeah.
It's a bit cold. The sun makes a difference. I mean, the grey days do get you a little bit. So to have the sun shining today, despite it being cold, is good. I might pop out for a little walk after this blab, because I've got to get into training for the marathon, which is in beginning of June, I think. So plenty of time to practice. And this year I'm hoping it'll be fine, because last year there was a thunderstorm crossing Salisbury Plain and I got soaked from head to foot, and it was just over halfway. So the last 13 miles I was totally wet through, but we finished. Anything happening on Blab this week, you think, John?
Blab, I've not really had any time to think about Blab. I did pop in very briefly on one of your sessions, but I've not had time to think about Blab. I've had one of those crazy weeks, a mixture of good and bad. So,
right, okay.
Somebody reversed into my daughter's car on Tuesday. The delivery driver. He was taking a great deal of care, and he reversed into the side of her car.
And
I've just had a text from her as well in the background.
Yeah, amazing. Right, if anybody'd like to come on air, you're more than welcome to do so. These tend to be general chats. There are no fixed topics, although we are looking forward to in coming weeks having a set topic where we'll discuss a topic of the week or a topic which is relevant to people. And obviously we can talk about SQL, we can talk about web design, we can talk about social media, a whole host of things we can talk about.
Growing vegetables, hens.
Yeah, hens. We can talk about hens, chickens, laying eggs, being living the good life, as it were. Though we do have a Morrison's around the corner, so that's cheating a bit, really, isn't it? To be able to pop round to the supermarket. But yeah, the allotments. You've got the three allotments now, is it, John?
I've got two. Yeah.
Right. Are you thinking of a third?
No.
Right.
But two's enough. Thank you very much.
Right. Well, I'm going to pop up to the allotment this weekend and see what damage the winter has done.
I went on Monday.
Yeah.
The fencing between the two allotments is down, but I'd planned to take it down anyway. So the wind has half done the task for me.
Yeah, I think allotments in summer are beautiful because you've got a mixture of vegetables growing everywhere and flowers, and it's just beautiful to walk around. It's better than walking around the public gardens because the variety is such that you can see the beautiful colours and you know that people are growing their own food, and that's wonderful. But there's no sadder sight than an allotment in winter. Because there's nothing growing. There's very little growing, and of course people don't go during the winter. Well, you and I do, of course, but a lot of allotmenteers don't venture there over the winter. But I do recommend anybody to get an allotment, as John did as well, because it's a great way to exercise.
And you can't beat fresh food dug out the ground. And eaten the same day. Stephen's he's got chickens, so he can collect his egg for breakfast and eat it straight away.
That's the way it works. I mean, we've got 5 chickens, and on average we get in between 3 and 4 eggs a day, which is brilliant. So I'm always open to new egg recipes. Ways to use them, because you can fry them, poach them, all range of things that you can do. It's a very part of a staple diet, and it's wonderful to have them running around the garden. Because not only do they lay eggs, they keep the grass short, of course. They're pretty good at that as well.
No lawnmower needed at your house then?
None. It's become, since we went from 3 chickens to 5 chickens, it's become redundant. Right. Okay. Yeah. And Kelvin's just saying that yeah, we are lucky, John, aren't we, in having allotments?
I mean, I'm on a very large set of allotments. There's 260 plots, but there's at least 50 of those available. People come and go, but you know, we lose probably 6 people a year and we gain probably 6 people a year. And everybody tells me it's really tough to get an allotment, and we've got loads around our area. So if anybody's in the South Birmingham, Solihull, Redditch, wherever you are, you're all welcome at Gospel Lane allotments.
Right, and if anybody's in the Devizes area, you're all welcome. There are 2 allotment sites in Devizes, and both have vacancies. There's no queue to join. And of course, the cost of an allotment is small, isn't it? It's small beer. It's 1 month's gym membership.
Well, it seems to vary where you are. Mine are quite expensive compared to most.
Oh, right, okay.
Although I live in Solihull, my allotment's run by Birmingham City Council because the road access is in Birmingham, but the allotments themselves are actually in Solihull. Right. Solihull allotments are half the price of Birmingham allotments, but you don't get anything with them, i.e. no water. You're not allowed sheds. You're not allowed polytunnels and various crappy rules. But there's a 6-year waiting list in Solihull anyway. Whereas, you know, you can get in Birmingham, certainly in South Birmingham, where there's 8 different allotments just in South Birmingham alone, you can pretty much pick up an allotment straight away, and they vary in price from a very a smallish allotment is about £37.50 a year, and a big allotment, which is the largest allotment they do, which is the one I had first, which I've still got, but now got a half size one of those, is £105 a year. Right. So I pay £167 a year for 1.5 plots, but they're big plots. And that also includes membership of the allotment association, which entitles you to buy from the shop and things like that.
Yeah. So it's very similar.
So in the end of the day, £167. If you saw the area I've got, and it is huge, it's nothing really. I've seen a week and a bit, you know.
Yeah, I've seen the photographs that you post on Facebook of the produce that you're actually growing, and it's totally amazing. I aspire to those heights, my friend. I aspire to those heights.
Yeah, well, I've had a bit of a disaster. I only took the big one over in February, so I'd never really seen it in the winter. And the back half is grass, and the front half I've completely cultivated. So I bought a polytunnel in November, and I erected it on the grass area. And now I know why I shouldn't have erected it on the grass area, because the grass area floods. So even though I've put trees in that area, and I've put a huge expanse of a 12-metre run of double row of raspberries, it just floods. So I'm going to move the polytunnel off there and up onto the one I've just taken over in October, which I should have just put it there in the first place, which is higher. Although they're next door to each other, the one on the right, the half-size one, is already starts about 3 feet higher than the one on the left, and as much as the far side, because it slopes, is probably about 8 feet higher. So I'm going to push it, create a level area, and push it right over to the far side, if that makes sense. I can't hear you, Stephen. Can you hear me? Oh, Stephen seems to have disappeared. The gremlins are here, as Kelvin says. Stephen's popped out. I'm sure he'll pop back in a minute, and hopefully we can hear him. No, still can't hear you, Stephen. Can you hear me, Kelvin? Just give us a clue. Ah,
I hear you perfectly.
Hiya, Kelvin. You all right?
Fine.
We seem to have lost Stephen, unfortunately. This happened last week as well, but in that case, Windows 10 decided to update and take control of his machine.
Oh, right.
I don't think it's Windows 10 this time. So where are you, Kelvin?
I'm in Cambridge.
You're in Cambridge. I should have got that from the reference of the allotments in Cambridge.
You need to pay attention. You do need to pay attention.
Well, we was yabbering about our favourite hobby, weren't we? You know what happens? You get lost in it. Are you a gardening man or no? Yeah.
I have a small garden which is mainly grass. It's very tiny, but as I said, if you wanted an allotment in Cambridge, there's quite a few allotments, but they're hard to get on, and a lot of allotment sites over the years have vanished. The council have built on them because land is at a premium in Cambridge, so allotments go first.
Yeah, the allotments I'm on gave up an area which became there's a school backing onto it, and they extended the school playing fields into there. Yeah. But the allotments benefited from it. Some money went into the kitty, and we didn't lose a huge amount anyway, but it benefited the community.
Are you back, Stephen?
No.
The string on the baked bean tin is broken.
Dear me. I don't know what it is with Wiltshire. Perhaps that's where all the gremlins live at Stonehenge, you know. It's gone again. I suspect it'll be a reboot of his PC this time. Oh. So what do you do, Kelvin?
I'm a photographer.
You're a photographer. All right.
At the University of Cambridge.
Oh, right.
In the physics department.
So what do you photograph? Stupid question. You're going to tell me physics next?
Physics? Well, things have changed over the last few years. There's less photography, as it were. I used to do a lot more stuff in the lab, as photographing experiments, stuff for people's PhD or their thesis. But the way things are illustrated these days, people tend to do it themselves. So there's a lot less of that going on. I photograph a lot of people because we have a large input of faces. So they all need ID cards for their pictures for their ID cards, pictures for the website, and that sort of stuff. So I take a lot of portrait pictures or stuff in the studio. I have a printing machine and I produce posters, or they produce posters and I have to print them for displays and lectures and for conferences. So that's quite a big part of the job now. I used to make a lot of slides in the darkroom because with PowerPoint and computers, I'm redundant in that thing, because I used to photograph original artwork, which would then be put into a 35mm slide. Doesn't happen. So the darkrooms don't get used anymore. Nobody uses film. So, you know, the job has changed. So a lot less photography and more stuff in front of the computer.
All right. My eldest lad, he used to be a self-employed photographer for about 4 years after leaving university. But he couldn't get a mortgage. So these days he works for an exhibition company and he runs their print and photography department.
Yeah.
And also he used to do a lot of weddings, and that got tough with people doing their own stuff with their
yeah. Well, you see,
nasty Nikons.
You know, you can go to a wedding now, and I mean, it's nice to have a wedding photographer and get some the classic wedding photos, maybe for your album to remember. But there are so many people with pocket cameras and stuff. You can always get a good supply of wedding pictures from your guests.
Yeah.
Pay thousands or hundreds or thousands of pounds that some wedding photographers charge. People can't afford it.
No.
So many photographers have shot themselves in the foot by charging too much money.
Yeah. We went to one about 18 months ago, and on every table there was, for each guest,
A chuck-away camera.
Yeah, a disposable camera. And then everybody put them in a basket when they left. And they then had thousands, almost, not thousands. But
that's a common trick or a common thing to do. It's a good idea. Doesn't cost very much money. But even those throwaway cameras, they are proper film. So
yeah,
that's all disappearing. You know, not many places process film or anything. That's all, unless they're cheap digital cameras. I don't know whether they do.
No, they were film because you had to wind them on.
Yeah, I don't know if you can get disposable, as it were, digital cameras or not. I don't know what they would be. Good morning, Peter.
Good morning. No, you just got me thinking there. Did you know in Aberdeen, what was the name of it? But in a back street, he's opened up a shop that only does black and white photographs. So why not be original and don't follow the rest of them and really promote yourself as old-fashioned, distant pictures? You've that thought?
Well, just yesterday we were talking about, we got onto the subject of vinyl records and how vinyl is making a comeback because it's retro. Yeah. And I said the very same thing about black and white photography. Black and white photography will return. Not sure when, but it's a thing to be in. If you've got a dark room or you can do black and white, you'll be all right. Yeah.
Go and specialise in it now, tomorrow. Yeah.
I'm talking of vinyl and cassettes. Do you remember those cassettes?
Yeah.
I've got both decks connected to my media PC now on the right. So I'm halfway through converting my old vinyl LPs into MP3s.
Well, that's interesting. My cousin here in Aberdeen, he bought. It used to be underneath Aberdeen. There's a series of tunnels runs right up the street. Not a lot of people know about them, and they were there, and they used them for the Second World War to keep the food during the Second World War for the rations. But he bought a couple of the tunnels just to store all his vinyl.
All right.
He deals in vinyl, and he has done for years. Gets them from Germany, buys them from people, and so that's what he's done. And there's a revival of it, and he had somebody famous. I won't tell you who it is, but he came up and he said, "Right, I'm wanting that," and he says, "No, I want you to buy everything, a whole lot." And it was £500,000, and he wouldn't do it. He was on. So vinyl's back, and I said to him, "So, Jim, you're trying to retire for the future. Why don't you just sell everything you've got and don't buy any more?" But you can't help it. Because people I've seen it, the Sunday Post, have you ever heard of that paper? I'm talking about credibility here. So Jim's a very shy man, doesn't usually go in the papers and that. And he was in the papers, the Sunday Post, which is very well read in Scotland, goes worldwide. And he was in the paper. I said, "Wow, what are you doing there?" And he was on about vinyl. And because of that, he got a phone call away down in England. Woman phoned him up and said, I want you to come and look at my ex-husband's vinyl. And when he went there, she says, I absolutely hated my husband. Just give me what you want for this vinyl. Now, he could have said, I'll give you £500, £1,000, but he gave considerably more for the money. And because of that bit of credibility in the paper, he actually made it. He gave the woman a fair deal, and he got that. So just shows you vinyl is coming back. So listen, if you've got vinyl and you want to get it priced or anything, his name is Jim Sanderson, and you can get in touch through me and tell me what you've got. And you never know, he might buy some from you if you've got old vinyl. Anyway, that's me for just now.
That's the advert over.
Yeah, well, no, it's not for me. No, I'll give you my advert.
Can we hear you, Stephen? No, we can't. Oh.
Right, Kevin, as a photographer, what brings you in your clients? What would you say was the main source?
I have no clients. I'm an in-house photographer.
Right. Okay.
At the University of Cambridge, so all my clients come to me. I don't have to go and look for any clients.
Right.
In the past, I used to do some wedding photography, but that was all by word of mouth. Started with friends and family, and then just recommendations. I did work for another guy who was a friend. He had a wedding business, and I used to do some stuff with him, but I didn't really advertise. It was just, word of mouth. Do a good job, and you'll get recommendations. Yeah. My other avenue is I used to do motorsport photography. So the quality of work used to sell because people like what I did. So
very good. Okay. Yeah. Now, guess where I'm coming next week, John?
Sorry?
Guess where I'm coming next week?
The NEC.
Birmingham.
Yeah. That's why I said the NEC.
No, it's not NEC. That's for your area, isn't it?
I live just south of, about 8 miles south of Birmingham city centre, yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going. Do you know where I'm going to? I'm going to Brad Buxton's boot camp.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's Marmite, okay?
Yes.
You love him or you hate him.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, he's a pizza man, and he'll always be a pizza man. But he is a good motivator, so
Yeah. Well, I've had meals. I actually brought 4 in to Aberdeen. That's why I know him. And I've had a few meals with him. And I used to be a milkman. I didn't deliver pizzas. I delivered milk. And I was in 25 grand in debt. So was he. And some people don't like me. Some people do. We've got a lot in common.
Yeah, but you went into killing mice, and he went into making people moan about him. He does have a high level of unpopularity around the Midlands.
Yes. Yeah.
But I think it's because he is extremely brash, and what you see is what you get, and we're gentle people in the Midlands and take objection to it, I think.
All right, that's quite interesting, because I think there's only one club left in...
Kevin doesn't agree with me, but that's just our impression in the Midlands.
Have you met him, Kevin?
Kevin's 4N man. No, Kevin, not Kelvin. Kevin Arrow on the right.
Who? Oh. Somebody else.
Kevin's someone Stephen and I have known for longer than I care to think about.
Oh, Kevin Arrow. Okay, I know him too. Come up on camera.
I'm just going to drop out so somebody can come in.
Okay. We can't hear you, John. Stephen, sorry.
No, still can't hear you, I'm afraid. The silent one. Kevin, do you want to pop into the seat and you can defend Brad Burton's honour?
See if I recognise Kevin.
Kevin says, I love Scotland, but I'm not going up there.
I love Scotland, but I want out of it. It's too bloody cold.
It ain't Gary.
Right. So what was the agenda today then? Was there any agenda?
To see if Stephen could get his microphone working, because it failed last week as well.
Right, I remember that.
Yeah, you were in Smacky D's when you joined us last week.
Right, I remember, yeah.
You had this huge pot of coffee, super-sized coffee, you know?
That's what I'm going to wait. I've actually got a meeting at 11. I'm meeting a girl to see about doing some direct marketing.
All right.
See the email, hopefully. I'm still a great believer in putting out a letter because they won't expect a letter.
I've been having a lot of success with 4 of my clients with postcards.
Yes, okay, that's interesting. Okay.
And humorous ones have done well for us as well.
Yeah.
And
right.
I've done one recently with pictures of product on one side, and on the other side, you know, the word puzzles.
Yes.
We had a word puzzle with all the different product names and product types in there.
Yeah.
And offered a nominal prize. And that opened, you had to find all the words. So we listed the words down one side and then had the word puzzle. And then they could fill their details in and either fill it in online or we had a page online where you could register or mail it back with, some little prizes, and they were little prizes, and that went down really well.
Right, okay. Interesting thing that then. Who was that?
Stephen's trying to come back in, but it doesn't look like it's working.
Right. Well, it's interesting. I believe people don't use mouse mats much more, because I was going to give mouse mats. I was sending them to them. The only mouse you should have should be on here. So that's gone. But what I'm thinking about postcard-wise is a picture, because it's the right shape, a rat trap, snapped, somebody's head in it, caught in a trap, using the same supply for years. Have you had price increases? Have you ever reviewed it? Would you benefit from a local service? And just to get their attention, something like that, something different.
Sounds good.
Kevin, where's Kevin? Right, he was asking me. I didn't.
Kevin's recommended USB sticks.
Right, that's interesting.
But you've got to have. I think that works for business people, but your target really is. Okay, I know it's businesses, but householders as well, isn't it?
No. Well, I've got 2. I don't. No, see, I give out fridge magnets with the shape of a van, with the telephone number. And that's well over the place. Oh,
is that you, Stephen?
It could be. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can also hear what sounds like someone sat there tearing that paper.
I'm on my own. There's nobody with me. Angelica's out teaching. I've switched the many count off and the Logitech off as well. So I'm now back on the.
I'm afraid it's good if we need to get those away.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh.
I think Peter's going to make us all a coffee.
Okay.
Yeah, we're now getting a course on how to make pot of coffee.
Right, okay, step by step. You water first. Switch the kettle on. Right, can you...
Oh, it's a cup of coffee. It's a one-man band job. This is because I said that he was drinking coffee in McDonald's last week, so now he's got to make his own coffee.
Right, you're still getting feedback from me.
You're terrible. Unreadable. Yeah. Right. It's terrible you have to kick your own host.
Well, he made me co-host, I got little H in the corner. What more could I want?
Yeah, so no, going back the pest control, mine's is a mixture of business and domestic. But what I want to do just shortly is build up my contract market again, because as I said, that's my pension, and basically do that and get more. So I need to do more marketing with regards to getting appointments to go and see them, to develop. Yeah, so that was quite well. Happy with that. So how does email marketing work for you?
I do a lot for other people, but not for myself. I only work with a very small group of clients, and I'm looking to expand that. But most of my new stuff comes by word of mouth. So, but I'm going to do some real marketing this year for myself.
Right.
But I mainly do marketing for other people, really.
Right. Okay.
Kevin's coming in, so there's two of you can beat me up about Brad Burton now.
Okay.
Have you not met Kevin before, Peter?
I might recognise him. I think.
Hi, gents. How's it going?
All right, mate.
I think I have seen
New York again, I see. God, blimey, you high livers.
What's that? New York?
New York again.
Yeah, and it hasn't changed since the other day.
So what do you do, Kevin? What's your form of living?
What do I do? Oh, I do all sorts of things. But I know Mr. Burton from old. I ran the Southeast for him for 2.5 years for 4 networking. I ran over 30 groups.
Right.
So I had over 100 team members working with me. And it was the most successful region in the whole of the country while it was under my charge.
Right.
And I stopped that nearly 2 years ago. Hence why it's not the most successful region anymore.
Why did you leave then?
Why did I leave? Let's just say we had a difference of values.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and slag the guy off.
No.
Not my bag. But we had a difference of values, and we party company, and that was it.
Okay. So you know Teresa Jackson.
Teresa, yeah, I know Teresa really well. But I've got a lot of time for her. I think she's excellent.
So Teresa's not there anymore either?
No. She left ages ago. That was about 3 years ago.
Yeah, so I phoned up. Well, I didn't want to go to BNI because it was too committal at the beginning. And I thought, I'll find something else. And I looked up 4N and she said, would you like to help us? And then I got sucked into running. And I opened a second one in Aberdeen, but it was too much.
Yeah.
And I built it up to 30 in the room, and I said, right, the reason I've done this is I now want to hand over to someone else.
Yeah.
But a guy from Dundee said he would do it. Now, Dundee and Aberdeen don't particularly kind of mix well, if you know what I mean. It's too far away as well. And he took it on, and it just didn't work, and it collapsed, you know. But I did like the 4N format. I really
did. I mean, I worked with a guy called Rob Levick. Which you might know, Rob Levick. Yeah, he was the regional leader, and I was mentoring him as a regional leader. So a number of years ago, when Scotland was on its backside, as in there were no groups, I was there training him, and we got it up to 6 groups up there.
Yeah.
And it was doing okay. But the problem is with Scotland, that it always has been and always will be, and this is where the 4N model falls down, is that they're just too far apart. You can't commute to them easily. And when you've got groups in Inverness, Aberdeen and all that, it wants to drive 3 hours for a bloody networking meeting. The Midlands, it's easy because they're 20 minutes, half an hour apart, all that stuff. That's great. Yeah. Scotland, don't work.
People are looking them up, but Inverness is just around the corner from Aberdeen. Well, it's a 3-hour journey up on a horrible road, and it's a 3-hour journey back. Right? To give you an instance, I'm I'm an associate member of the Professional Speaking Association. To go to a 2-hour meeting yesterday, I had to travel in the early morning to have a night meeting on the train. I got down for £16 a turn because I'm over 50. Then I lost my ticket and had to pay the full fare back. I stayed in the hotel overnight because the last train out was 9:30, which I missed. Okay, so then get up in the morning and then I travel back. Hence, I'm looking to bring the PSA to Aberdeen. because there's a few people interested. But the only way I could do that is go down, meet people, go to the big conference, meet more people and say, listen, I'm looking to bring it up here. Are you interested in coming up and giving us courses as well? So that's what I'm hoping to do. And it was the same with 4N. That's what I brought it up. Because Aberdeen's in a bubble, but the bubble's burst. It's burst big time. And there's a lot of people going self-employed. And some of them don't have a clue because they've been cushioned for years.
Yeah. I mean, my prediction, and I said this to John earlier, latter part of last year, is that the face-to-face networking stuff is really on a down.
Right.
I don't think it's going to continue when we've got things like Blab, where I can talk to you from the comfort of your office, you know, network with you on here, get to know what you're about. I can do it on Periscope. I can do it all over the place online, digitally, remotely, and at my leisure. It doesn't take me 8 hours. If I wanted to have a conversation with you, I ain't got to drive for 8 hours. We just hook up on Skype.
That's right. Well, listen, you know about one-to-ones. I'm in BNI still. Oh, God, I've got to get a one-to-one and I just put out an email. Who wants to meet me on Skype? Got my email, and it was so they was sitting there. I offered them a coffee, but they couldn't take it.
But but the thing is, we're all living busy lives. Yeah, we've got our livings to earn. You know, we've got what we've got to do. We want to incorporate our family stuff in it. What we don't want to do is waste half a day meeting someone for the sake of having a meeting. And generally speaking, when somebody calls that meeting, it's a self-fulfilling meeting. It's them trying to sell you their crap.
Yeah.
Right, there's no benefit to you. It's not actually a true, I want to know more about you so I can help you and introduce you to my network and all of that, which is truly what networking should really be about. It becomes a hunting ground. Yeah. And all they want to do is waste your time, half a day of your life you'll never get back. You probably have to pick the tab up for the coffee, and all they're trying to do is bore you into buying something that you don't want anyway.
I've actually worked in a different way, to be honest with you. You know, they say give us gain. Well, I've just been told I wasn't there, but I'm now in the green room, which is one of the top workers. But so I got a new brochure made, and on the back it says I'm a BNI member, and it worked beautifully because I went into a job that I got, and then the girl was nice, and I just flicked over at the end and I said, "Is there anything else I can help you with?" And I says, "I've got members of this club at me. If you're in," and she looked down, she says, "I want to see the IT consultant." So that's what I've done there, and that worked beautifully. We couldn't have because I'd actually given educational on it, you know, and so I try and give out more than I'm gaining. But
not many people do that, and most people, especially in the face-to-face networking arena, and I've done it for too many years, which is why I don't do it now, are all about the selling. You know, they don't want to listen to you. They're not interested in what you do, who you know. You know, I've walked out of rooms before where I was quite prepared to give someone very large contacts that would have set them up for a long period of time, big money. Right. Yeah, because all they cared about was them. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. You know, give it to someone else. Yeah. But as John knows, Sarah and I, Sarah's my partner in business. You know, we're big sharers. You know, if work comes in, we like to pass it to the most appropriate person, right? Okay. And even if it's stuff that we do, we don't always take. We're not grabbers. We won't take it just because it's there. We'll help people and we'll share it about. Because the biggest way of ever building your business, and it's proven throughout the generations, is by being generous. Okay. You know, give without expectation. And what happens, and if you look at some of these clever writers these days, some of these clever marketing people, they'll say to you, it's the power of reciprocity. What's the word, John? I can't.
Reciprocation.
Yes, that's the one.
Where you pick down the screen, by the way, and slowly disappear it.
So what happens is you know you give stuff out, and we're big givers of giving free information. We give loads away for nothing. And what happens is people appreciate that and they remember you. And then if and when the time is right and they want to buy a service, you'll be the first one they come to. Yeah. If they want to refer you on, they'll go, these people are really nice. You know, but you don't ask them for it. You do it just in a very generous, genuine way. And I would say out of every 500 people that we give information to, we might get 2 clients where we've been referred to by them. Well, that's fine. You know, the blogging challenge, which we run for free, we've had 12,000 people through it in the last 18 months. which is we give all of that for free. No sale, no pitch, no anything.
I'll follow you then.
But the thing is, we've had people come up to us that we've not had a real conversation with that said, look, we feel we know you, we trust you. You know, can you help us with this? We want to pay you to do this. I mean, what better way of building your business than people coming up and saying, here's the cash, what can you do for us?
Yes. Yeah.
It's a bloody dream, isn't it?
I'm trying to find you in here. Try to find you in here now. Where are you hiding? Right.
Oh, I'm hiding all over the place. People don't, I'm in New York at the moment.
No,
paper version.
That's got a lot of significance to me, you know. Where are you? On here, wait a minute. Jorvik, Paddy.
If you click on where my screen is, just click on my name and it will come up.
All right, okay.
That's an easier way of doing it.
It's the man in the middle, actually.
Okay, that's it. No, listen, I was just telling John and I think I told you about this, talking about I went and targeted a bunch of health and safety people because they're a pain in the arse to me. And I says, right, I'm going to go and find them and give them a talk. And so I went there and I gave a 45-minute talk. I got a pen and I told them all about pest control, why we do it, what we use, why we're safe, why we're not licensed, blah, blah, blah. And so far, that talk has made me 20 grand.
That's all right, isn't it?
You know, and I was just giving out, and I didn't expect that back.
No.
So I see what I mean, just giving them that information.
The whole thing is about building credibility.
Yeah.
Trust and credibility, right? They don't even have to, some people go, it's the like bit as well. I don't believe in the like bit when you do business. You know, do you have to like your client that owns a hotel just to go in and kill their rats? No, not really. They don't have to like you. But what they do have to do is have to trust in your ability to do the job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, that's the biggest thing, is the trust and the credibility factor in a business. And if the like bit happens, that's great. But I've got friends. I don't need to make more friends. If I do, then that's all right. But I'm not out there in the business world to have paid for friends. It's almost like prostitution, of course.
Absolutely. I don't care if I've only got one friend. No, I've got two friends in real life. But the one friend, even he doesn't speak to me.
Is that because you put poison in his coffee?
No, it's we came through the army and school together and that, and we're still friends, and we meet up for a coffee. I actually prefer virtual. I prefer going on and meeting people virtual and having a chat with them.
But you know what? That isn't the purpose of why we do this stuff. If it's a byproduct of business, that's brilliant, right? We get that. But there is always, when you work with people, whenever there's a financial transaction taking place, that's the thing you have to concentrate on first and foremost, because friendships get in the way of that, and it becomes unprofessional at times. So, the talk that you did, excellent, because what you did was you stood up there. Some of them may like you, some of them may not, but what they all probably got was the fact that you knew what the hell you was talking about. Hence why you got 20 grand worth of work.
And I few them over. I'll say, how did you get my name? And they say, oh, you were a health and safety person, was at a talk. But here's the thing. I've got a couple of operators now, and to be honest with you, I don't want to get to know my customers as friends. I want to know them as a customer. So I prefer they go out and do the work. We do the billing background, and if they don't pay, we chase them and things like that. And a couple of them will say, where's Peter nowadays? And they don't realise that I'm not doing the work anymore. I refuse to pick up a bait box if possible. I refuse to pick up a sprayer. And it's made a big difference to my business by going out and actually not doing the work. And that's been really good over the past couple of years.
Makes a big difference.
Yeah. Well, having said that, I'm going to go because I need to go and meet somebody. Kevin?
Nice to chat to you.
When I meet Brad, will I send him your regards?
Of course, yeah. By all means do so. Tell him that he was chatting with me and look at his face. It'll probably be something along the lines of, oh my God. What did he say?
Yeah.
Actually, irrespective of our personal differences and our values, I think we have a mutual respect for each other. Because he's never denied what I built in for him, and I've never denied that actually, however he's got there, he's built a reasonably successful business.
Yes.
So putting everything else aside, those are actual facts. So, you know, we have a healthy respect for each other, but are we best mates? I probably wouldn't go that far.
Yes, but the sort of person that you tell you straight, so you tell him straight.
Yeah, and that always created a few fireworks in the board meetings, that's for sure. You know, 26 regional leaders in there, and I was the only one to stand up and say, actually, you're talking out your arse, mate. But you know what? Actually, in that environment, you get more respect by doing that.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of people that get involved in that sort of environment, they're coming to the end of their careers. Right. Yeah, if you look at the people that are involved at that level, they're guys that are in their late 60s, they're winding down, they're earning a little bit of commission out of what they're doing, and they just want to trot on. Yeah. Okay. That's not my style. You know, I'm sort of more of a, you know, if you're making an arse of yourself, I'm going to tell you you're making an arse of yourself. Yeah. You know, because that's the way it should be. I see it. But of course, not everybody like that. Even if they were thinking it, they'd never say it. And you know, Brad's 6'2", and he's not a small guy. No. So there was always the fear factor in the room. But you know what? Who cares? You only live once. You only die once.
Oh well, but if I bump into Teresa, because she's doing something called Collaborate, number 8 now in Scotland.
I saw that. Yeah. Yeah.
You don't see it in Aberdeen.
Right.
Just I'm not but the BNI group in Aberdeen is now the top region in the UK. It was sold and it's double the turnover of clubs and that. So it's really, really, you can't move for it in Aberdeen now.
No.
Can't move for it. But anyway, so there you go. Listen, I'm going to have to go. And
okay, mate. Nice meeting you.
You can speak about me when I'm gone.
We will.
I'll watch the Bye.
Take care. Have a great day.
Bye. Oh.
How are you doing, John? Are you good?
I'm surviving, Kevin.
Good man.
Had a bit of a busy, crazy week. Somebody drove into my side of my daughter's car on Tuesday.
Oh, that's pants.
Yes, because we went and took it for a quote, and sorry, it was Monday night that they drove in. We took it for a quote on Tuesday, and the repair quote is more than the value of the car.
Ah.
The guy who reversed into her, a pizza delivery driver, and I am not joking. And it happened outside Pizza Hut. He wants to keep it off the insurance.
Well, he's got a cough up then, hasn't he?
Well, I began to wonder if he's got any. That's the downside, Kev. And, you know, my daughter's only 24, and the insurance is more than the value of the car, you know. She just had a renewal, and a renewal's over £1,000 for a car that's probably only worth about 900 quid, you know.
The problem with those is, John, even if you put it through the insurance and they will say you've got protected, no claims and blah, 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 what they'll do is
just go up next year.
The premiums will still rocket, because even if it's a non-fault accident, it's still a black mark. Even though they'll all deny it, it always goes up. You know, it's really an unfair industry, in my opinion.
Yeah, somebody drove into me one time, and the next year my insurance went up by like 100 quid, you know, and my insurance was only like £270. And it went up like 100 quid. Now, some of it was the year insurance tax was introduced. Right. But, you know, I said, you know, come on, don't take the piss here. You know, even though they paid up, I'm paying the penalty, you know.
It's an unfair industry, that's for sure, in my opinion. This isn't a gardening forum. Who's saying it's a gardening forum?
No. Leane Gary, the lady that's joined from Canada, we know each other through a Facebook group called Friends of Gardeners. And I asked her, was she the Elaine from Abbotsbury in Canada? Because she just said, "Hi, Elaine from Canada here." If you look back. And,
wicked.
And I thought, Elaine Gary, there can't be that many Elaine Gary.
Stephen, are you back?
I don't know.
Yeah!
Oh, that's better. Hey! Right,
I know. I've no idea what buttons I pressed, and it just seemed to be a setting that's changed. I don't know. I didn't do anything, and but I'm back, and I enjoyed that chat about Brad, and yeah, I mean, he is Marmite, as you said, John, and it was good to hear of Kevin's experiences, and you're still on good terms. Because it is
life's too short to not be on good terms with people.
But we need people like Brad to actually not necessarily give people a kick up the backside, to actually get things moving.
Yeah.
I mean, people who believe in what they're doing as being the right thing to do, and going with it, no matter what anybody says, go with it. But I can understand where you're coming from. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoy this discussion. It's good to sit outside for a while and just listen.
But we need businesses in the UK that are UK based, that are earning money.
Yeah,
that's what we need. At the moment, he's got one. You know, there aren't many that are doing that well. So we need people that are more than just one-man band, businesses that are trying to avoid the tax man. We need people that are contributing back into the system. And as the country's on and up, and we know it's on and up financially, we need to keep that momentum going. You know, so I only have reasonable things to say about him on that front. You know, as I say, personal differences aside, you know, we're all grown-ups in the business world. You know, we can live with that, and if we can't, then we shouldn't be in the business world, in my opinion. But you know, but we do need more businesses that are out there pushing it forward, promoting the growth of small business. Just like Warren Cassie's with his Champions of Small Business, which is his new initiative. You know, they're out there doing this, and yes, of course, they're building their own business and their own thing and earning money from it. Why not? You know, why shouldn't they do that? But they're also giving support to startups, new businesses, and all of that, and opportunities. And you know what? Nobody forces them to do it. Nobody forces them to join a networking group. If they want to join it, it's their money. They'll pay it. The same as if they want to get a marketer, they'll go out and they'll buy one. You know, the same with an accountant. All of that is absolute free choice. Yeah. So, but if there's a benefit to them, they'll stick with it. If there's not, they'll leave.
Indeed. That's very true. Yeah, John's quite right. We do talk about anything and everything. People are welcome to come on camera and join us or ask questions via text. We generally record for about 45 minutes, so we can put this on YouTube as a reminder that we're here every Thursday at 10 o'clock. I've been enjoying, by the way, Kevin, your blabs with your graduates, your blogging graduates.
Yeah. It's a new thing that we're doing because obviously the blogging challenge is going so well. We want people to actually see the other side of it, that there is what happens afterwards, and what opportunities it's brought up for people, how it's worked in different industries, because content is the way forward for marketing, digital marketing. You know, for this year, we talked about this the end of last year, and people are saying, you know, blogging twice a week isn't enough now for organic reach. You need to be 4 or 5 times a week, which sounds a lot, but this is what is being told by the big digital market, the worldwide big digital marketing agencies are saying, we've done the research, this is what you need to be doing. So blogging needs to be understood because it for sure makes an impact. Now, where that goes, who gets involved and all of that is debatable, but what we're trying to do with the graduates is to say, look, these people generally came in knowing nothing. This is what, you know, and this is where they are now. 6 months later, a year later, what opportunities have come up, you know, and where it's taking them for their business, because that ultimately is what people want to do it for. You know?
I mean, the purpose is to actually get more business, isn't it? At the end of the day, to attract more people to your site, to sell softly.
Yeah, it's just to get people, and you know, we like to use the word nurture quite a lot. So, you know, we don't call it selling or anything like that. We just provide the right environment for people that if they're looking for something, then they can find it.
Yeah.
And more often than not, when we do a discovery call with people because they decide they want to book us for something, what they think they need generally isn't what they need. And we had exactly this last week. We had someone that wanted to come on our $2.5 grand coaching package. And we said to them, actually, you're not ready for this. This isn't, you think you need it, but it will overwhelm you.
Yeah.
It's too much. Therefore, why don't you ease into it via our VIP group, which is 60 quid a month? And they're like, well, you've just turned down £2.5 grand. And it's like, well, yeah, but we want you to be happy with what you receive. We want you to succeed. And if we put you into a program that's too much for you or too advanced, then we both fail, because we won't give you what you want at the level you're requiring, and you won't be able to take that information and use it for what you've paid for.
That's, totally. You know where you're coming from.
And of course, what happens at that point? It goes back to what we was talking with Peter. You know, they go, oh, bloody hell, this company, they're so great, they're so ethical, you know, and they tell all their friends about it. And then they all come into the blogging challenge. So, it isn't a grab the money environment in business these days, I don't think. I think you have to sell the right product to the right people, especially small businesses, because money's tight for everyone and they have to spend wisely. And therefore, there has to be a benefit. If there's not, you should walk away from the deal.
Yeah, well, everybody who's graduated from the 30-day blogging challenge has benefited, and they become advocates, don't they?
They do. And even if that is, some of them go off and they'll go, right, I'm going to become content writers. I'm going to do this for a living. Some of them go off and go, something like Mike Gardner, for instance, the Time Doctor. He's like, blogging isn't his game, but he still blogs every other day on his site because he gets the business.
Right.
And then some people go, you know what, I get the mechanics of it now. I understand what it is. And I've been employing a content writer for 2 years. And you know what, by God, I'm going to kick their ass because they're not doing it right. You know, so there's multiple benefits to it, no matter what route people take afterwards. But the point is there's an education in the way that we do it. And that's not saying it's the right way. It's just saying it's the way we do it. And we've gained business by doing it this way. There are, of course, other ways of blogging and other structures and formats, but I sort of see it as a bit like if you imagine the political parties. Whereas you've got the blogging on the left where they actually forget to say they're in business and, you know, they're just having a nice little chat. There's people in the middle that, you know, do it very gently and very, you know, like the nurturing and all of that. And then you get the far right of the blogging world, which actually each blog is just a massively disguised sales pitch.
Yes. Yeah.
We hate those. So even though the platform and the methodology behind it, as in you write, etc., is the same, the way you do it and the way you structure it and promote it is all very different.
Yeah. Indeed. And what do you think the future of Blab is this year?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I said to you guys last year, live streaming for me is bloody awesome. I think it is the future. And Twitter's update this week has just reinforced that for me. Because, you know, now this week that they've put the live feed through Twitter.
I was shocked when I found it, so I used it.
Yeah, but you know what? The numbers of viewers and engagement has increased massively in the last week. It's really, really noticeable. So people are saying, well, how does Twitter make money via Periscope? The chances are they're probably never going to. What they're doing is they're increasing the Twitter activity. And, of course, what do they do on Twitter? They have paid for ads.
That's true. Yeah.
Bigger, more engaged audience equals more people buying the Twitter ads.
Right.
So they're going to monetize it for sure, but whether they do it actually on the Periscope platform, I hope they don't. I hope they'll use it in the way that they're doing it at the moment, which is increasing the Twitter engagement.
Yeah.
Because we don't mind the ads on Twitter. That's okay. You know, because you can just skirt past them if you don't want them. You know. They're not very invasive, I don't think.
Not like on Facebook. They're nowhere near like the ones on Facebook, are they? No. But
then, of course, they're talking about doing away with 140 characters as well.
Yes. Now, I've got mixed feelings about this. We're all used to 140 characters. It's been successful because of 140 characters. Going up to 10,000. I mean, they tested direct messaging at 10,000, so they know the technology works, and they've just got to flick a switch. So they've been practicing, and they're ready to go. But my feeling is that we're used to reading it like we read news headlines. We don't read all the articles on the BBC page. We look at the top 10 stories today, and that's where we go for. I think you're going to have display the headlines, and you've got to be the tweets have got to be more succinct and catchier to make you read the rest of the 9,860 characters. That's my take.
I don't think it's a good move on their behalf. I think it comes away from their brand. I think it takes their uniqueness away. I think people like the fact that actually, you know what? How many times have you written a tweet and it's gone too many? Yeah, and you've had to go back and rethink it and be more succinct in your message.
Yep.
And I think it takes the thinking part away from it. I think it takes away the actual fact that you've got to sit down and go, okay, I need to get my message over clearly within this allotted characters.
Yeah, he could well indeed make people lazy and make tweets less interesting. Hello, Ilian. Good to see you.
Hi.
We've not seen each other before this year, so Happy New Year.
Thank you. It's Eileen.
Eileen, right.
Eileen.
So do I. Okay, Eileen. Okay, fine. Of
course, I love doing that. So you can screw up my name so I can do it again. But now, good morning, guys. I got a little inspired to jump in when Kelvin, when you guys were talking about Blab. The question was, about the future of Blab? And Kelvin right away started talking about Twitter and Periscope, and I'm like, okay, did I miss something?
No, the thing is, right. If you look at the timeline, Periscope has been around since March last year. Blab has been around a little bit less than that. And it hasn't evolved as much as Periscope has.
Actually, Meerkat was March, Periscope was April, Blab was May. Because they were, it was...
I'll accept that, but I'm pretty sure it was March for Periscope, but we'll agree to differ.
People are always asking me, how long has Blab been around? Because since I've been here since almost the beginning. Almost. I think I came in late June, early July. And Meerkat came out first because it was at South by Southwest. And then Periscope followed shortly after. And so that's how I've been able to remember when people ask me, how long's Blab been around? I'm like, May. And then that's when I did a little research. But it doesn't matter. My point is, I don't think that we should even compare Periscope to Blab, although I know that everybody does it all the time. I just like to have, when people talk about Blab and what they think the future is of Blab, that we kind of like divorce that from the Periscope conversation, because we all know that it's really different, because Blab is conversational, whereas Periscope and Meerkat and this new thing out, Meevee, is, the one-way thing where you're just fielding comments.
You're just broadcasting.
Could I just hit back a second? March the 26th was Periscope launch for Apple, and it was launched on Android in May.
Okay, so maybe that's where I got that from, because I didn't have iPhone back then. I had Android.
But you got me thinking, because I've always said it's March, and it is 26th of March it was launched.
Okay, of Periscope. So when did? Yeah. So, but Meerkat did come out in March as well, though, right?
It might have done. I don't know. Nobody uses Meerkat. I don't know why.
People are still using Meerkat. It may not be as popular. The people don't talk about it as much as they used to. But in fact, I had a Blab last night, and my friend Tony, who is one of the original Blabbers and who I met here, but also has always been on Meerkat, he's doing a weight loss journey, and he was talking about how he's doing this weight loss journey. He got off his diabetes medicine and all of that, and he's doing a daily thing on Meerkat. So some folks are still over there just because they prefer that platform versus Periscope. So you still have your diehards, but it's not being talked about in the media and all that, because they're not really innovating like they were in the beginning. They were doing more innovation than Periscope was. They came up with that cameo feature, and that was all so exciting. And then after that, it was just like, okay, they just got stuck. And so I don't know if the funding is running out or what have you with Meerkat. And I don't know if it's going to go away. It may, because we got all these new players. Meevee just came out. Have you guys tried Meevee yet?
No. How's that spelled?
Meevee.
Meevee.
So it's another Periscope. Now, this one you definitely could compare to Periscope. I'll just put mine there so you can see an example of what it looks like. And it's just a one-way broadcasting where you have people coming in, you know, who can comment and all of that and give you stars instead of hearts.
Okay.
And so it's really just another version of Periscope. But Blab is unique. If anything, I think the biggest comparison would be Google Hangouts. However, everybody knows Blab is easy. Hangouts more complicated.
You can say that is perfectly true, because back when Google Hangouts first came out, the three of us, myself, Kevin, and John, used to spend Sunday nights hanging out with Sarah and Angelica, and we were there at the beginning of Google Hangouts, and we enjoyed ourselves and had a blast. But it wasn't as robust as it is now, but it seems to have got more complicated. What do you think, Kev?
They were interesting days, that's for sure. And I can't remember the amount of times where we'd move and then wait for 20 seconds for one of the moustaches to move over, or they were fun days. But the problem was it just was never really robust is a good word, I suppose. They never quite got it right, did they?
No.
And I think, you know, I still can't work out with Google Plus whether they're just playing at it or whether there's actually some form of plan going forward, because I keep hearing or what they're doing with it. Nobody really knows. There seems to be little, if not any, development going on with it.
But Kevin, the more interesting rumor is that Google is going to buy Twitter.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
I, you know, with all these changes coming to Twitter so fast and furious, like all of a sudden now, they want to, like, especially this 10,000 character thing. When I heard that, I said, now that rings of Google. You know, the Periscope integration, not so much. Kind of like we already knew once they purchased Periscope that eventually they were going to integrate it into the Twitter stream. That only made sense. But the 10,000 characters, that is just so unlike the whole entire platform. But the only thing that rings in my head is Google. So maybe they are just making themselves be more attractive to Google, and maybe they want Google to see, you know, just how the how us users react to that type of a change, because that's going to be a radical change. Can folks afford to say, well, I don't know, I'm not going to be on Twitter anymore. I don't like that 10th. No, we can't do that. We're stuck on Twitter. There's nothing else like it, right?
No, true. I mean, for getting up-to-date news from people actually on the ground, you can't beat it. For actually promoting anything, blogs, what have you, you can't beat it there either. I'm just, if you go towards 10,000 characters though, that's pretty close to posting a blog with every tweet. And
so Medium is part of Twitter, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Well, they're not exactly, but it's the same players.
Connected.
Yeah, because the guys who started Medium were also used to be involved with Twitter, correct?
Yeah, correct.
So maybe there's going to be an integration there. And, you know, when you're talking about 10,000 characters, that almost sounds like they're bringing Medium into Twitter. And they're not, like, why are they having this rumor out? Like they're almost trying to gauge, you know, what our sentiment is before they actually do it. So,
yeah,
that's pop in for a moment.
What happened to Kevin?
We've been recording for an hour and 10 minutes now.
Okay.
So what I'd like to do is not people. Please don't go.
Your audio's cutting out, John.
But we'd just like to turn the recording off. So, do you want to do the end out on the recording, Stephen?
Right. Okay. I will do the end out, John. That's a good idea, and then we'll carry on just chatting. So thank you for everyone who's joined in today. Thank you everyone who's come on camera. It's been a very enjoyable session. We look forward to seeing you next Thursday at 10 o'clock. Don't disappear now, because we're going to continue, and I'm going to switch off recording, and we'll carry on now.